They thought they could replace you. They believed that choosing someone else, walking away, or exploring other options would make the feeling fade. But here's the truth, nothing compared to you. And now that realization is pulling them back with force. If you're seeing this right now, it's because the energy around your connection is activating again. Something has shifted. Someone from your past is thinking deeply, feeling regret, and recognizing that what they had with you cannot be recreated. Welcome to Sophia, where we dive into the emotions people hide and the truths the heart can't escape. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you find it, it's meant for you in this moment. As always, only take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. If your heart feels pulled already, trust that feeling. It's part of the message coming through. Today's energy is intense and emotional, and 3 powerful cards are stepping forward to tell this story. The Lovers, the Eight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups. These cards speak of deep soul connections, walking away to explore other choices, and a return driven by emotions that refuse to stay silent. Even before we go deeper, their presence alone reveals a powerful truth. Love like this doesn't disappear, no matter how far someone runs. If you've been sensing their energy lately, thinking about them out of nowhere, or feeling a sudden emotional shift, this reading may explain why. There is a realization happening on their side, and it's changing everything. Stay with me, because what unfolds next will help you understand why they're coming back, what made the other options fade, and what this means for you moving forward. Trust that the message meant for you will find you. When the Lovers, the Eight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups come together, they tell one complete emotional story, a story of love chosen, love abandoned, and love courageously returned to. This combination reveals a connection that was never shallow, never casual, and never replaceable. From the beginning, this bond carried depth, alignment, and a sense of this is different. The Lovers shows that what you shared wasn't accidental. It was a soul-level connection that asked for honesty, commitment, and choice. And at one point, they stood at that crossroads and made a choice they are now being forced to fully understand. The Eight of Cups shows the aftermath of that choice. They didn't leave because they stopped loving you. They left because they believed they needed to search, to explore, to see if something else could match or surpass what they felt with you. This card captures the emotional restlessness that pushed them away, a belief that fulfillment was somewhere else. But emotional truth is patient, and it follows quietly. As they walked away, the connection didn't dissolve. Instead, it became the measure by which everything else was compared. Time passed, and with time came awareness. Other options may have looked promising at first, but they lacked the depth, safety, and emotional resonance you brought into their life. Conversations felt empty. Emotional intimacy felt forced. The Eight of Cups reveals that their journey away wasn't about replacing you. It was about realizing they couldn't. Every step forward only made the absence of your energy louder. What they once thought was freedom slowly turned into emotional emptiness. This is where the Knight of Cups enters the story, carrying the emotional awakening they could no longer suppress. This card represents the moment their heart takes control. Logic, pride, and fear step aside as emotion rises to the surface. The Knight of Cups doesn't return casually. They return because love has become undeniable. They are no longer comparing, no longer searching. They are moving toward the one connection that still holds their heart. Together, these 3 cards show growth through loss. The Lovers reveals the depth of the bond. The Eight of Cups reveals the lesson of walking away. The Knight of Cups reveals the courage to return emotionally changed. This is not a cycle of indecision. It is a journey of understanding. They now see that love isn't found through options. It's recognized through feeling. Emotionally, this combination shows regret mixed with hope. They may feel sorrow for what they risked losing, but also gratitude for the clarity they gained. You were the emotional standard, whether they admitted it or not. And now, they understand that love like yours doesn't appear twice. This realization brings humility. It softens them. It opens their heart in ways it wasn't open before. There is also a sense of destiny in this combination. The Lovers speaks of divine alignment. The Eight of Cups speaks of a necessary separation. The Knight of Cups speaks of divine timing. This suggests that the distance between you served a purpose, not to end the connection, but to deepen understanding. What returns now is not the same person who left. It is someone more emotionally aware, more honest, and more willing to choose with their heart. For you, this combination carries validation. It confirms that your worth was never diminished by their choices. Their journey was about their own emotional awakening, not your value. You were always enough, always chosen at a soul level. And now, that truth is surfacing clearly. This combined message also asks for emotional discernment. While their return is guided by genuine feeling, it's important that actions align with words. The Knight of Cups brings romance and sincerity, but lasting love requires continued honesty. This connection has the potential to be deeper than before, because it's now built on awareness rather than assumption. Ultimately, these three cards together tell a powerful love story, one where love was tested, misunderstood, and finally recognized. They show that some connections don't end when people walk away. They wait, they teach, and when the heart is ready, they return with truth. This is the energy of a love that couldn't be replaced, no matter how many options were explored, and a heart that has finally learned where it truly belongs. The Knight of Cups arrives as the emotional turning point, the moment where feelings can no longer stay hidden and the heart takes the lead. In this topic, this card represents their return, not rushed, not forced, but guided by emotion, longing, and truth. Unlike the past, where confusion and fear influenced their choices, the Knight of Cups shows someone who is now moving with intention. Their heart knows where it belongs, and it's finally giving them the courage to act. This card speaks of romance, vulnerability, and emotional expression. They are no longer running from what they feel. Instead, they are allowing those feelings to rise to the surface. Thoughts of you are becoming more tender, more emotional, and more meaningful. They may be replaying memories, imagining conversations, or wondering how you would respond if they reached out. The Knight of Cups reveals a desire to approach you gently, with sincerity rather than ego. In the context of this topic, this card shows that they are coming back to claim what their heart recognizes as irreplaceable. Other options didn't awaken their soul the way you did. Those connections may have lacked depth, romance, or emotional safety. Now, they understand that love isn't just about excitement, it's about emotional presence. And with you, that presence felt natural. The Knight of Cups also shows emotional bravery. It takes courage to return after walking away, especially when regret and vulnerability are involved. They may feel nervous, unsure how you'll receive them, but the pull is stronger than the fear. This card shows someone willing to risk rejection for the chance to reconnect emotionally. They would rather try than live with the regret of never expressing what they feel. There is also apology energy here. Even if the words haven't been spoken yet, the intention exists. The Knight of Cups often carries an emotional offering, a message, a confession, or an expression of love. They want to make things right, or at least open their heart honestly. This isn't about manipulation or control. It's about emotional truth. This card suggests a softer approach. They may not come back with grand promises right away, but they will come with genuine emotion. Their energy is more open now, more receptive. They are learning how to love without running, without comparing, without searching elsewhere. The Knight of Cups moves with feeling, not logic. And that's exactly what's happening here. Emotionally, this card shows romantic longing. You may feel this energy before any action takes place. Sudden dreams, emotional waves, or a sense that someone is thinking about you deeply. This is the Knight of Cups moving through the emotional realm, preparing to step forward. The bond between you is being reactivated, not as it was before, but with greater emotional awareness. In this topic, the Knight of Cups also represents choice fueled by love rather than fear. They are choosing you because their heart recognizes home. No comparison exists anymore. You are no longer being measured against others. You stand alone. This realization brings emotional clarity that can't be undone. However, this card also asks for emotional honesty on both sides. The Knight of Cups brings feelings to the surface, but it also requires vulnerability to receive them. This return is not about repeating old patterns. It's about opening a new emotional chapter, guided by lessons learned from distance and loss. The Knight of Cups closes this story with hope, not fantasy, but emotional sincerity. It shows that love, when chosen consciously, becomes powerful. In this topic, this card confirms that they are coming back not because they have nowhere else to go, but because their heart finally knows where it belongs. And this time, they are ready to approach you with emotion, respect, and an open heart. The Eight of Cups appears here as the moment they turn their back, not because their heart was empty, but because they believed walking away was the only way to find answers. This card speaks of emotional departure, the kind that happens when someone feels restless, confused, or convinced there must be something more out there. In this topic, it shows the exact phase where they chose to leave you behind to explore other options, thinking distance would bring clarity and peace. At the time, they told themselves they were doing the right thing. The Eight of Cups shows someone who leaves familiar emotional ground in search of fulfillment. Even when their heart isn't fully ready to let go, they may have appeared strong or detached on the outside, but inside, something felt unresolved. This was not a clean break. This was a slow, heavy walk away, filled with doubt they refused to face back then. As they explored other paths, other people, and other possibilities, the truth quietly followed them. This card reveals that what they were searching for was never out there. Every new option only reflected what was missing. Conversations felt shallow. Emotional depth felt forced. The excitement faded faster than expected. The Eight of Cups tells us that no matter how far they went, their heart kept turning back toward you. This card also carries regret, not immediate regret, but the kind that grows with time. At first, they felt relief, thinking they had escaped emotional pressure or responsibility. But as time passed, the emptiness became louder. They began to understand that walking away didn't heal them. It only made them realize the value of what they abandoned. This realization didn't come suddenly. It arrived slowly, through disappointment after disappointment. Emotionally, the Eight of Cups shows someone confronting their own choices. They can no longer blame circumstances or timing. They are being forced to look at the truth. They left something meaningful behind, and now, the weight of that decision is sitting heavily on their heart. This is where the energy shifts. The search ends, the running stops, and awareness begins. In the context of this topic, this card makes it clear that the other options truly didn't compare. They may have tried to convince themselves otherwise, but deep down, they always knew. You were the emotional standard, whether they admitted it or not. Every comparison became a reminder of what they lost, the safety, the connection, the emotional honesty they once took for granted. The Eight of Cups also speaks of emotional maturity. Walking away taught them lessons they couldn't learn by staying. They now understand what love costs and what it's worth. This card doesn't show someone who left and forgot. It shows someone who left and finally understood. And that understanding is what's pulling them back now. There is also a quiet longing in this card. They may be thinking about you during moments of solitude late at night, or when something reminds them of you unexpectedly. These thoughts aren't casual. They are emotional calls they can't silence anymore. The distance they created only amplified the truth they tried to escape. This card doesn't speak of pride anymore. It speaks of humility. They are realizing that walking away didn't make them stronger, facing their feelings will. And in this topic, the Eight of Cups shows that their journey away was never meant to replace you. It was meant to lead them back with clarity, honesty, and a deeper understanding of what they truly want. The Eight of Cups reveals that they are done searching. The emotional journey that took them away has come full circle. Now, the same heart that once walked away is turning around, not out of confusion, but out of realization. They know now that what they were looking for was always you. The Lover's card appears here, not just as a symbol of romance, but as a powerful mirror reflecting a choice that weighs heavily on their heart. This card tells a story of connection that goes far beyond surface attraction. What existed between you and this person was real, deep, and soul-touching. When they think of you, they don't just remember moments. They remember how you made them feel about themselves. Seen, chosen, alive. That kind of bond doesn't fade just because time passes or distance grows. In the context of this topic, the Lovers reveals that they didn't walk away because the love was weak. They walked away because they were standing at a crossroads. This card is about choice, and more importantly, the consequences of choice. At some point, they believed that exploring other options would bring clarity. They told themselves that love could be found again, that what they felt with you could be recreated elsewhere. But the Lovers shows us that love rooted in truth cannot be duplicated. Every comparison they made only led them back to you. This card also speaks of alignment, heart, mind, and soul coming together. Right now, their thoughts are circling back to the realization that with you, things felt aligned in a way they haven't felt since. Other connections may have looked good on the surface, but something was always missing. Conversations didn't flow the same. Emotional safety wasn't there. The spark didn't reach the depth it once did. The Lovers shows that they are finally seeing the difference between temporary attraction and true connection. There is also honesty awakening within them. The Lovers card asks for truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And the truth they can no longer avoid is this: you were not just an option. You were the choice they should have made. This realization doesn't come quietly. It comes with regret, longing, and a deep emotional pull. They may find themselves replaying moments with you, wondering how they let something so real slip through their fingers. Emotionally, this card shows vulnerability. They are opening their heart again, even if they haven't admitted it out loud. Love is resurfacing, not as fantasy, but as recognition. They now understand that what they shared with you wasn't coincidence, it was connection. The Lovers reminds us that some people come into our lives to teach us what love truly feels like. And once you know that feeling, everything else feels empty in comparison. This card also suggests mutual energy. Even if you haven't spoken, even if silence has stood between you, the bond still exists. You may have felt their energy lately without knowing why. Sudden thoughts, dreams, emotional waves. That's the Lovers at work, a soul-level connection that doesn't need constant contact to stay alive. They are feeling it too, and it's becoming harder for them to ignore. In this topic, the Lovers makes one thing very clear. Their return is not about loneliness or fear of being alone. It's about choosing love consciously this time. They are being pushed to choose with their heart instead of ego, comfort, or outside influence. And the comparison they once relied on has failed them. Every other option only highlighted what they lost with you. This card doesn't promise perfection, but it does promise truth. If they come back, it's because they finally understand the value of what you shared. The Lovers tells us that love like this demands courage, the courage to choose, to commit, and to face the past honestly. And right now, that courage is slowly awakening within them, pulling them back toward the one connection that never truly left their heart.